Imagine that Mo decided to run away from the States and he wants to start fresh in the lovely Vancouver. He wants to open a liquor store right at downtown. However, dreaming is easy until he finds the reality of selling alcohol in British Columbia. My name is Giselle Munoz, and let's take a look first at the microenvironment that Mo finds. According to the most recent data of the World Bank, for 2018, per capita alcohol consumption in Canada was 8.9 liters, which is not much compared to the 20.5 liters per capita in Seychelles, the country with the highest alcohol consumption. So people don't like alcohol in Canada? Well, certainly the government doesn't. They see a connection of drunk with high crime rates and riots. Reason why a lot of politicians don't have an interest of changing the systems of the alcohol industry since they don't want to promote a drunk agenda. But is it really important the Canadian government for Mo? Sadly, for Adam Smith and his theory of non-intervention of the government in a liberal economy, yes, the alcohol industry in Canada is heavily regulated, intervened, and controlled by the government. And in the case of Mo, in particular, by the British Columbia Liquor and Cannabis Regulation Branch, or BCLCRB. So which one would be the marker Mo would be entering? First, the government issues the liquor licenses, and these were placed on a moratorium. This means no new applications are being accepted. And let's say you're lucky enough to have a license already, the government regulates also the placement, so you can open a liquor store even if there's one nearby. Also, the only supplier is the government, and even to buy from a local BC vineyard, there must be an approval for the government. So there's not a lot of variety on the market. There cannot be a pricing strategy to stem from competition since the prices do not vary from one place to another. And the system really is a monopoly where the government gets a say on who is part of the industry by issuing the licenses and which products can retailers offer by being the supplier, and controlling the distribution and placement from where consumers can access to it. So, if you want to open a liquor store in British Columbia, your economic viability depends on the government guidelines and even new policies they come up with. In order to be a successful alcohol vendor in BC, Mo must comply with the government and do everything with responsibility. So, no irregular business like counterfeit alcohol will be accepted in this side of the border. So, politically speaking, a lot of politicians don't want to be associated with a more flexible alcohol regulations. Legally speaking, the government has all the supply chain control, since supplying all the way to retail and consumers. And economically speaking, they do generate a significant revenue by being this involved. So we can assume there's not a motivation for them in changing this how this model works. Having said this, Mo is stubborn and wants to do the investment of getting a license. But now he needs to understand who is involved in his operation and who can they help or not. So let's see the stakeholders. First, obviously, the government. The BC government can oppose to new actors on the system by dilating the license process and making it expensive. Second, the consumers. The consumers, thanks to the existing demand, there is an industry willing to fulfill that need. So they support the consumption and they are the source of profit for these businesses. So they're really important and they're really supportive. Competition, if they bid Mo to a location, it can affect where he opens his business. And location in retail means everything, especially in this case, since there's no a pricing strategy, since everything costs the same. Supplier. Oh, well, the only supplier is the government. However, there is a stock and an actual offer thanks to them. So they're really important in a sense that there is a variety thanks to them. Distribution. Company properly enrolled and authorized by the BC government distribute the alcohol to the stores and pubs. However, they do not have a lot of power over the business per se, so they're not a high importance actor in this case. So, which one would be my recommendation for Mo? First, Buy a license. You don't have to actually go to the process of getting it from the government. So get a license from someone who already has one. Second step, having the license won't be enough. He has to uphold the BC government requirements. That means that Mo must be informed on the various factors such as inflation, recession, shortage of supplies around the world, in order to foresee how the Canadian government might react. Unless, if the government wants to prevent drunk and driving, for example, Mo can work on a social movement focused on preventing like drunk drivers to promote his store. So he needs to also understand why the government is putting this legislation in order to work with that. So that would be the recommendation for Mo if he wants to open a liquor store in VC, and the best of lucks for them.